So we borescoped 4 barrels, some medium, middle-of-the-road barrels, Aero Precision, CMC, and we were a little surprised at what they looked like inside. So now I'm curious if we do some higher-end stuff and maybe some not-so-high-end stuff. Do they look the same? Do they look better? Do they look worse? I'm kind of interested to see, and we're also going to take a couple of factory uppers. This is a Daniel Defense DDM4 V7, 11.5. This is a brand new factory upper, but I'm sure Daniel test fires them at the factory, so we should see a little bit of something in there. We also have a 10.5 300 Blackout from Radical, and this does not appear to be test fired. There's no marks on the face of the bolt, so we shouldn't see any copper or anything in the barrel. We've got Rosco manufacturing. These are pretty decent, but budget friendly. We've got a nice high-end barrel. We got a Faxon. It's a 16-inch flame fluted 223 Wild. And then the cheapest barrel I could get my hands on. I got a few of these in for the shop for inexpensive builds for people in case they want to stay on a budget. This is actually from Diamondback. These came right from the distributor. They are brand spanking new. We'll have to see what that looks like. I think these retail for like 89 bucks. So they're not very high end. I do not have any of the cheap gun show garbage stuff when you see them Chinese $50 barrels. I don't have any of that stuff. I just don't sell it. I won't sell something that I can't stand behind. Which one should we start with? Well, Roscoe's right here. Might as well start with this one. This is a 416R stainless Rosco. I think this is 11.5 and 5.56. This is our barrel extension. Fairly clean. A couple tiny little pieces of schmutz. Overall not bad. Chamber's polished, that's nice. A couple little machining marks, but again, this is microscopic. You're seeing this with a magnifying glass. A little bit of debris, but not that bad. It's actually fairly clean. It looks like they took the time to clean it a little bit. A little bit of debris right where the throat starts. This is right where your carbon ring will form. And we get into our free bore. And it's not great, but this is a budget barrel. There's definitely something going on right with that one land right there. A little bit there as well. Yeah, that one land, it just keeps going and going. Makes me wonder if the cutter had the dull spot on it. A couple more imperfections. This one does look a little bit nicer than the ballistic barrel did. Again, it's just one land that has something going on. Piece of lint. Let's take a look at the gas port. All right. So on our gas port, we can see there's definitely some lint there. So they actually took the time to clean this barrel after it was machined, which is nice. It's good to see that. It's hard to see how nice the gas port looks, but it doesn't really matter. Again, this is all microscopic. I'm sure this barrel shoots totally fine. A few more little marks here and there. Nothing really to write home about. Got just specks of lint. What is that? Looks like just specks of lint from being cleaned. And we're at the crown. How's the crown look? Crown looks pretty good. I don't see any dings or damage. I bet you this barrel will shoot just fine. It is interesting. It was a lot cleaner than the Ballistic Advantage. They definitely took the time to clean it before they shipped it out. Let's see. Let's grab the Faxon. Beautiful flame fluted barrel. 16-inch. I think that's mid-length. So here's our barrel extension. A little bit of schmutz, but not too much. Fairly clean. Chamber's nice. Looks like it's got a little bit of polish on it. And then the melanite. Where's the end of our chamber? Turn the brightness up a little bit. It's interesting what the melanite does. It's almost like it eats away a little bit at it. There's our free bore. It's kind of scaly. This is a brand new barrel. It almost looks filthy. This is the beginning of the lands and grooves, and it doesn't look that great. I really want to learn more about the melanite process and see if that's what's causing all that. Because this is a brand new barrel, it's never been shot. And I think I see specks of lint, like they did at least try to clean it. It's hard to say if this has got machining marks or not because you can't really see it. Is that tool marks in the groove right there? I don't know. I don't know what Faxon uses. Are they button rifled? That could explain some of the marks. It just seems awfully dirty. This is a $300 barrel, and I'm just surprised it looks like this. Let's take a look what the gas port looks like. Yeah. Based on those fuzzies right there, I would say they did try to clean it. Gas port looks clean and nice. But that would explain what all them little specks of lint are. I wonder what they used to clean this. You would think a patch wouldn't leave this much lint behind. Pretty much more of the same the whole way down. And now some of the lint is finally disappearing. Get a better look at the machining. It looks pretty clean. Overall, I would say it looks nice. Not too many marks. Ooh. And here's our crown. Bunch of chips on the edge. And is that from the melanite eating away at it? But yeah, if you look at that, I mean, I guess if it's uniform, as long as it's eaten away all the way around. So that's a little surprising. But again, I'm sure it shoots fine. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with this barrel. It's just interesting to see what they look like inside. Let's do the El Cheapo. This is a Diamondback barrel. Retail, I think it's about 89 bucks or so. Just says 5.56 NATO, 1 in 7 twist. It does not say what material it's made out of. You'd have to assume it's 4150. There's our barrel extension. That is cleaner than all the others. Chamber's got a light polish on it. You don't want too smooth of a chamber or your cases will stick. But that doesn't look great. It's definitely not great. And that, I believe, is our free bore. Or no, that's the end of our case. That would be where our carbon ring would be. Then we'll come into our free bore. I don't see any major tool marks. There's a couple little marks. One thing I did notice is in this one, the rifling, the edges don't seem that crisp. Oh. Yeah, that's not very sharp. Again, this is a budget barrel. Nothing special, though. It's really clean. I'm actually surprised how clean this barrel is. It's probably cleaner than all the other ones we've seen. At least they took the time to clean it. Although the machine marks don't look amazing, it doesn't look that bad. Definitely looks like the tooling is not razor sharp that cut it. Oh, there's our gas port. Wow. It's actually nice and clean. That is the cleanest gas port I have seen out of all the barrels I've checked so far. I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to look like it was chewed on by a hamster. More of the same, nothing special. Not seeing anything that sticks out. Wonder what our crown looks like. Let's take a look at the crown. That's not really great. That little mark right there, I'll zoom in on that. That mark, that is from this being held in a live center when it's being turned and machined. And that should be removed when it's being crowned. And it has it everywhere. And I will show you. Yeah, every land has it. Every land has that mark, and that is clearly from a live center. I'll put a picture up here. When you hold something on a lathe, the other end, not the headstock but the tailstock, usually use a live center. When you hold something on a lathe, you've got your headstock, which is actually where the gearing and motor and everything is, and then you've got your tailstock, which is nothing, but it supports the end, and that uses different ways to support the end, and the most common is what's called a live center. It'll have a point, and it keeps everything centered. And I'll put a picture of that right here, and you can see clearly there's marks in there from the live center. I use a live center when I do certain things, but I always make sure if it touched the crown at all that part gets removed, and I leave about 1/4 of an inch extra on the barrel specifically so I can remove that during the crowning process. Be interesting to see how one of these shoots, considering that the tooling didn't leave the crispest of rifling and the crown is a little boogered, but there's a lot of articles out there that say the crown is not that important. And there'll people who will scream from the rooftop that if your crown even has one little nick, the gun won't shoot. And there's a lot of people who have done testing that show otherwise. I kind of don't think the crown matters that much. This is a Radical 300 Blackout 10.5, and yes, this bolt has not been shot. There's no carbon anywhere, so that would make me be inclined to think that this is unfired. So let's take a look at this. Here's our barrel extension. She's a little oily, but she's pretty clean. Definitely some oil in there. Let's check out our bore. Wow. That is, that's the chamber. That's the surface finish on the chamber. And that looks like the end of the case mouth. There would be where your carbon ring will form. And into free bore. That doesn't look that great. Big chip of metal in there from something. Is that a gouge? That would appear to be. Thought that was oil, but I think that might be a gouge. I'm going to swap this head out for the right size. Alright, swapped out the tip for a better size to give us a better angle. That is the surface finish on the chamber. I don't know how I feel about that. End of our case. That would be where our carbon ring would start. And that is our free bore right there. That does not look that great. That finish is just, I don't know. Is that's some oil? There's a big metal chip. Maybe from cutting the gas port. That looks like oil, maybe? Can't tell if that's oil or a gouge. It looks like a gouge. Well, that's oil. Maybe that's just a puddle of oil. And this barrel hasn't been cleaned at all before doing this, so. I mean, I'd rather have them ship an oily barrel than a dry one and have it get rusty on the shelf. But this finish. What was that? Another chip. And more chips. Is that from cutting the chamber or from cutting the gas port? It's all the more reason you clean a brand new barrel. Wow, look at all that. Look at all that debris. That's definitely, look at all that. That is definitely from the gas port. Because here is our gas port. Although it looks like it's been cut nice and clean. There are just chips everywhere. More chips. More chips. I'm not even sure they cleaned this before they shipped it. More chips. Look at that. Wow. That has a big puddle of oil. But more chips. And a few more chips. A couple more little chips. Let's check out the crown. If you can hear that snoring, that is Matt in the back. He had a rough night on the Jersey Shore catching crabs from the ocean. And here's our crown, which does not look bad. Nice and uniform, no dings, no gouges. It's 300 Blackout. You don't expect accuracy out of 300 Blackout anyway. I'm just surprised the amount of debris and the surface finish. That's interesting. Let's do the Daniel Defense. This has got to be beautiful inside. This is going to look like the lobby at Caesar's Palace or something with showgirls and all. There is brass on the bolt, so it has been test fired. Here is our barrel extension. Of course, we expect to see some oil in this. It is brand new. A little debris on there, actually. Some schmutz in there. I mean, I know they test fired it, but did they clean it before test firing it? It's hard to get a view of any of that. This is our chamber here. It's got a light polish on it, which is always good. A little bit of debris. And there's our free bore. It's actually a fairly clean barrel. I don't see any major debris. Rifling looks nice. A little bit of tool marks, but nothing really. There's a nice little nick. Little imperfection in the land right there. That looks like a piece of string or something. Piece of lint. This is actually really nice. It's clean. Not too many tool marks. Although in the grooves, but that's the land rather. The surface of the lands do have some little marks. nothing really to write home about. Ooh, a little dirty, but it's been shot. I have no idea how many rounds they test fire these with. I couldn't tell you if they put 100 rounds through it or 5, but based on the face of the bolt, it looks like it only has a handful of rounds through it. Nothing special though, pretty clean. Where's our gas port? Oh, there's our crown. Now that crown looks nice. That crown looks nicer than all the rest because it is recessed. It has a slight V to it. And you can actually see it all the way around. There's one little kind of some schmutz there, but overall that crown is nice. Let's see, where's our gas port? Oh. Now that's clean. That's a nice clean gas port. It was drilled nice. You really can't ask for better than that. For $1,200 and change, it better be nice. But yeah, that's nice. So yeah, the Daniel is of course the nicest. I was kind of surprised at the Faxon. I thought it'd look a little bit nicer. The cheapy barrel was super clean, but the rifling marks and stuff don't look like the tooling was the sharpest and newest. And then that Radical, that one kind of surprised me. That's kind of yucky. But I'm sure they all function 100%. Question is which one's the most accurate. Don't know. Next, I think we're going to grab some factory rifles off the shelf, various brands, and see what their bores look like. I've heard comments from people saying, they have a Tikka or a Savage, and that inside looks like it was chewed on by animals and chipped away at, but shoots amazing. So maybe we'll grab a couple of factory guns off the wall and check those out.
That's all, folks.